Anonymous is one of the biggest online vigilante groups. Members hack into companies and governments. You've seen them wearing masks in protest. They prefer a life in the shadows. But this morning, a former top member breaks his silence. He helped carry out cyber attacks that caused up to $50 million in damages. Only on CBS This Morning, Hector Monsegur opens up about his arrest and switching sides.
Tinkering with the system and learning how it functioned, I was able to escape from the current situation we were going through.
So you were self-taught?
Absolutely. You know, everybody around me were into something, but it wasn't computers.
From the moment Hector Monsegur got his hands on a used desktop, he had a passion for computers. But for the boy raised by his grandmother in this New York City housing project, it was the internet that provided a gateway to something bigger.
How did you learn about hacking?
You know, we were poor, so I needed to find a way that would be cheap or free so that I could be able to access the internet without being a burden to my grandmother.
According to court documents, at first he stole credit card information, selling the numbers or using them to pay his own bills. Monsegur eventually adopted the name Sabu and joined a mysterious group of hackers about to take off.
Tell me about Anonymous.
Anonymous is an idea where we could all be anonymous. We could all work together as a crowd, united. We could rise and fight against oppression.
We are Anonymous. We are Legion.
As Anonymous grew, Monsegur helped take the movement to a worldwide level. At the height of the Arab Spring in Tunisia, he hijacked the Prime Minister's website, posting this letter in support of protesters.
It was amazing. I saw finally I was able to do something that contributed to society, regardless if I was at home in the Lower East Side, in the projects, behind a computer.
Monsegur admits he was behind thousands of hacks. While working with Anonymous and his own offshoot group, LulzSec, some of his targets included Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Sony, and the U.S. Senate.
Hacking's illegal.
Yeah.
Were you worried about getting caught?
Not necessarily.
Because you thought you were better than they were?
After you're hacking for so long, you reach a point of no return. Regardless if you fear that they're going to get you one day, it's too late.
In June 2011, Monsegur led a brazen attack on the website of InfraGard, an FBI affiliate. Days later, a team of FBI agents showed up at the same apartment where he grew up.
So they said, well, we know who you are. We know what you're doing. And we also know you have 2 kids in the house. You make the decision. So it's clear as day they had an understanding that my weakness
was your kids.
Was the kids.
He immediately chose to work as an FBI informant to avoid the possibility of serving up to 26 years in prison. For the next 3 years, he continued communicating with fellow hackers, only now every keystroke was logged.
FBI says that you helped them prevent more than 300 cyber attacks.
Yeah.
The military, NASA.
I was able to intercept attacks that were happening against the government and share it with the government so they could fix these issues.
He also played a key role in the arrest of a group of co-conspirators, 7 of whom pleaded guilty, including the FBI's most wanted cyber criminal, Jeremy Hammond. Some fellow hacktivists saw Monsegur's cooperation as the ultimate betrayal, labeling him a rat.
Did you take any pride in giving these guys up?
It wasn't a situation where I identified anybody. I didn't point my fingers at nobody. I
You're
did not provide.
You're rationalizing this.
No, I'm giving you reality. My cooperation entailed logging and providing intelligence. It didn't mean, can you please tell me the identity of one of your mates?
Suppose they said that.
How? We're anonymous.
Monsegur's talent and keen eye highlighted vulnerabilities in the critical systems that keep America online. Threats, he says, still exist.
And in all reality, there is no security. The hackers could break right into the airport. The phone systems, obviously. The water supply system, shut them down.
Scary to me.
It should be an inspiration to the American government to focus on our infrastructure. We have a sickening reliance on security contractors, the companies that Edward Snowden worked for.
Right.
Who will guard the guards, Charlie? our security, the people we pay for, the people we hire with tax dollars, are not really secure themselves.
Earlier this year, Monsegur was sentenced to time served. On the day his cooperation was made public, Anonymous suggested it was indestructible, tweeting, "Anonymous is a hydra, cut off one head and we grow two back." Monsegur's family was threatened, and he remains cautious.
Would you do any of this differently?
If I were to go back, I would remain a political hacktivist. Activist, hacker. However, I would stay away from Anonymous.
Because?
It was just too much publicity.
Can you imagine that if you had not gone one direction, but had ended up in Silicon Valley?
Well, that's the problem. I didn't end up in Silicon Valley. I had no connections to the world. And I guarantee you, though, had I made it to Silicon Valley, had I met you when I was 18, and you probably could have pointed me in the right direction,
Right.
you and I would be having a completely different discussion.
Clearly bright, smart guy, Charlie.
Self-taught.
Yeah, and talking to you very candidly. I love the question he asked you, who will guard the guards, Charlie? And I'm surprised he's talking so candidly
Yeah,
this
I'm
way.
surprised. I mean, I guess he was outed in those legal documents in the trial, but still, yeah.
When did you know the FBI was on to you?
Several days before, probably several days, a couple weeks before my arrest, because I would come downstairs, take the kids to school, and there's a random Con Edison truck parked in front of my building.
Yes.
How often do you see a Con Edison truck parked in front of the Lower East Side? And then you have random mail, you know.
It should have been an indicator right there.
Well, you know what's the greatest indication?
What?
The mailman was hanging out with the Con Edison guy in front of my building.
Yeah.
It's kind of random. So I knew something was off.
But what choices did you have?
It was too late.
Too late.
There wasn't much choice.
They knew you and they knew what you had done.
Absolutely. I mean, what could I have really done? Walked up to them and say, "Hey guys, I know why you're here."
Well, you could have went out the back door, I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But still, I would have been on a run, and that's not a good life. Plus, I had 2 kids, so it was a tough situation.
And then there was the night the agent showed up at your door.
Yeah.
Remember that for me.
Well, it started off with me walking the kids home from school in the morning. I woke up. We just had completed like this really, really crazy hack the night before. Walked the kids to school. And on my way back, I'm noticing there's random people parked in random cars, and it just nothing makes any sense. Never seen these people before. Never seen these cars before. And there was one instance where one of the guys was looking at me as I'm walking by. He's reading his newspaper. He's peeking at me, and when I look at him, he completely just gets lost and drops his paper and is looking around, is fidgeting around the car. I already knew something was happening. So I went home. I cleaned up the place. Got ready. You know, I took a nap. Went straight to sleep. Around 3, 4 o'clock comes around, I go pick up the kids, bring the kids home, drop them off at church, and I did like a little shopping spree with them. I had some money in my pocket. I took them to buy like $200 worth of coloring books and toys, and I dropped them off to church with a family friend, and I said, "Hey guys, I'll catch you later. I'll be right back." I already knew what was happening. I went home. Rather, I went to the store first, and I grabbed a 6-pack of beer, which I don't drink, and I went upstairs and I celebrated with my brother. I told him, "They're coming. Just be prepared, stay in the room, and don't say nothing and don't move. I don't want you to get shot if they think, you know, you're a threat." So around 8-ish, 9-ish, around that time, it's already dark, and they knock on my door and they say, "Police." Mind you, we're not doing anything illegal, so I'm pretty sure, well, besides me, I'm pretty sure it wasn't the police at the door. I said, "All right, guys, hold on a moment." I walked to the door. Before I walked to my door, I spoke to my brother. I said, "Listen, just chill. Relax. Let me handle this." I go to the door, and here we are. We have a whole bunch of FBI agents in the hallway. I remember it was at least 14, 15 of them. They were up and down the staircase doing verticals. We had some guys in suits on the corner, around the corner of my hallway. And, you know, they basically pulled me out into the hallway and they said, "You know, we're glad you opened the door in time because we're about to smash it in." I said, "All right, so what's the problem?"
That's what you said?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah, like, what's up? How can I help you, you know? So they said, well, we know who you are, right? We know who you are. We know what you're doing. And we also know you have 2 kids in the house. So to keep it simple, you could either cooperate with us, just come downtown with us, you'll be back in the morning, or we're going to call ACS and we'll take the kids away. It's your call. You make the decision. So it's clear as day they had an understanding that my weakness
Was your kids.
was the kids.
You've got 2 beautiful kids. You came clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
You served some time in the prison.
Yeah.
Now you're out. Now you're on national television.
Awesome.
And the scary thing, and perhaps the lesson ought to come out of this, beyond what happened to you and beyond the decision you had to make,
Yeah.
is how vulnerable we are.
Absolutely. And I tried my best to expose that reality. Tried my best to tell people there's no security. We are in a really bad state. If you look at the history of what we was doing, especially my team, we focused on hacking into security contractors, the same people I mentioned, the same companies I mentioned. Why would we hack into, a Mantech or Raytheon? Why would we do that? To prove a point. How can we say there is no security if we cannot prove that there is no security? So what's the best way to prove there is no security? Well, let's hack a security company. Let's hack the same company that enjoyed $1 billion worth of tax dollars last year for providing security to our infrastructure.